Yeah, I think that's really a good question, because, we do have this thing. And as we mentioned in the show last week, we talked about the sacrificing of the lamb, right, for Passover, and which was a very big deal. In particular, I don't know if you've ever seen this, when I was in the nation of Georgia, Gruzia, they call it in Russian. But I went up to the Javari Monastery. We just went up to visit, and there was a wedding that was being planned. And in Georgia at that time, guys could still kidnap their wife, if they wanted to marry her, they kidnap her and take her away. And after a couple of years, maybe she'd agree to marry him. I don't know. It's a strange way to get married. But at this particular wedding, they were preparing to sacrifice a lamb for the wedding. Now, I don't know if this is part of the Orthodox tradition or what, but there was some incredible things going on. We went into the monastery. There was a man's choir that was singing 5-voice polyphony with an antiphon with the priest, which was some of the most incredible music I've ever heard, ever. And it was all a cappella. It was phenomenal. And then, of course, outside the wedding party was gathering. But here's this little lamb that was sitting there, tethered to something that they were preparing to sacrifice for the wedding. And, when you see it, you really see the innocence and the beauty of the lamb. I mean, here's this beautiful little creature, just about as innocent as they can be, And that's the whole point of the Pesach sacrifice, was to force, people who were, I think, engaged in cannibalism. I think there is support for that. There's scriptural support for that, even though it's inferred, it's not expressly said. But when you talk about the teraphim and having somebody else's head in your living room, it implies that there was human sacrifice going on. And the fact that Moshe would then prohibit cannibalism in the Torah tells you that before that they were eating human flesh. And so I think that Yah wanted people to see, look, you take that innocent little lamb into your house and let your kids get to know it for 4 days before you slaughter it, so that you have an idea of what would ultimately come, which was the Lamb of Yah that would be sacrificed in Yerushalayim for the sins of mankind. And so this lamb offering that was done by Abel, the lamentation, right? His name means the lamentation. It was done really as this foreshadowing of the lamb to come, the lamb that would be slaughtered ahead. And the lamb that would be slaughtered ahead all had to do with this idea of the disobedience of Adam and Hua, their disobedience in eating from the tree of knowledge, which trapped us in the flesh, which took us out of bodies of light, put us into the flesh, and that Havel would then show the sacrifices to what was going to be involved, the kind of heartbreak that would be involved in restoring us once again to our Creator. And so I think the fact that it was a lamb, I think, is an important thing. But Cain's offering would have been accepted as well if Cain had come with a contrite heart, but he couldn't do that. He was rebellious in nature, rebellious in kind. And he offered, a blemished offering. Basically, he weeded the garden and said, here you go. And that's a tainted offering.